The gift hidden in your pain, the Japanese have a word, kintsugi. They repair broken pottery with gold because they believe the breaking makes it more valuable. Your pain works the same way. There was a before, you remember it, don't you? That time when life made sense, when things were okay, when you didn't carry this particular weight. You moved through the world differently then. Lighter, more certain. You had plans that seemed reasonable and a future that seemed predictable. You didn't know you were living in before. Nobody ever does. We don't recognize paradise until we've been exiled from it. We don't appreciate intact until we've experienced broken. We don't understand easy until we've met impossible. And then something happened. Maybe it came suddenly, a phone call, an accident, a diagnosis, a betrayal, a loss. Or maybe it crept in slowly. A relationship deteriorating day by day, health declining increment by increment, hope fading degree by degree until one day you woke up and realized you were living in after, and you couldn't remember exactly when before ended. There are moments that divide your life into two chapters, everything before and everything after. The moment you heard the news you'd been dreading. The moment you realized the relationship was truly over. The moment you understood you lost something you could never get back. The moment your body betrayed you. The moment your mind cracked under pressure. The moment your world shattered. In that moment, you didn't think about growth. You didn't contemplate lessons. You didn't consider how this might serve your future self. You just hurt. And that hurt was so complete, so consuming, that you wondered if you'd ever feel anything else again. This is the truth about real pain. It's totalizing. It doesn't leave room for perspective or philosophy or positive thinking. It fills every space inside you until you are nothing but the pain, until you can't remember who you were before it, can't imagine who you might be after it. And everyone around you, with the very best intentions, says things that don't help. Everything happens for a reason. God only gives you what you can handle. You'll be stronger for this. Time heals all wounds. And you want to scream, I don't want to be stronger. I want my old life back. I want the pain to stop. I don't want this lesson. I want what I lost. So you enter what I call the valley of darkness. Not because it sounds poetic, but because it's the most accurate description. This is the place where meaning disappears, where the future seems irrelevant, where the past haunts you and the present is unbearable. In this valley, you learn things they don't teach in school. You learn that you can brush your teeth while crying, that you can go to work while your heart is breaking, that you can smile at strangers while dying inside. You become fluent in the language of I'm fine when nothing is fine. You master the art of functioning while fragmenting. And here, that's what nobody tells you about this valley. It's necessary. I know that's hard to hear. I know you want me to tell you there's a shortcut around it, a way to skip this part, a hack to accelerate through grief. But the valley is where transformation begins, even though it feels like where hope goes to die. Because in the valley, everything extra gets burned away. Your ego, your pretenses, your carefully constructed identity, all of it becomes irrelevant in the face of real pain. You're stripped down to something more essential, more true, more human. And then in the depths of that valley, a question surfaces. Not a question you ask deliberately, but one that emerges from somewhere deep within, from the part of you that refuses to be extinguished. What now? Not why did this happen? That question leads to madness because most times there is no why that would satisfy. Not how do I go back? Because you can't and part of you knows it. Just what now? What now with this pain? What now with this broken life? What now with this person I've become who I don't recognize? What now carrying this weight? What now when all my plans have disintegrated? What now? This question is the first flicker of light in the darkness. It's not hope yet. Hope is too strong a word. It's more like curiosity. A tiny wondering if maybe, possibly, there might be a way forward that you just can't see yet from where you're standing. Viktor Frankl, who survived Nazi concentration camps, wrote something profound. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. You can't choose what happened to you. You can't choose your pain. But hidden in that pain is a choice that nobody can take from you, the choice of what you'll make from it. This doesn't mean looking on the bright side. This isn't about forced positivity or pretending your pain is somehow good. Your pain is real and it's valid, and nothing I say should minimize that. But here's what's also true. You can be hurt without being destroyed. You can be broken without being defeated. You can carry pain without becoming pain. The question isn't whether you'll suffer, you're already suffering. The question is whether your suffering will be meaningless or whether you'll extract meaning from it. Psychologists have identified something they call post-traumatic growth. Not post-traumatic stress, though that's real and valid, but post-traumatic growth. Studies show that people who go through terrible experiences often emerge with greater appreciation for life. Warmer, more intimate relationships, a clearer sense of personal strength, recognition of new possibilities in life, and deeper spiritual or existential understanding. This isn't automatic. It doesn't happen to everyone. It's not guaranteed just because you've suffered, but it's possible. And the difference between people who experience post-traumatic stress versus post-traumatic growth isn't the severity of their trauma, it's how they engage with it. The people who grow don't deny their pain. They don't minimize it. They don't rush through it. Instead, they do something counterintuitive. They get curious about it. They ask questions. They look for connections. They wonder what this experience might teach them about being human. Your pain is a mirror. And like any mirror, it shows you things you might not want to see but need to see. It reveals your values by showing you what you grieve. You don't mourn the loss of things that don't matter to you. Your grief is evidence of your love, your investment, your capacity to care deeply. Pain also reveals your resilience. You're still here, aren't you? Still breathing, still functioning, still carrying on despite everything. That's not weakness. That's extraordinary strength. The fact that you haven't given up, even when giving up would be understandable, says something profound about your character. And pain reveals your capacity for compassion. When you know what it's like to hurt, really hurt, you become more tender toward others who are hurting. Your pain breaks open your heart, and through those breaks, empathy flows in. But here's the crucial part. This revelation only happens when you're willing to look. When you're willing to sit with your pain instead of just trying to escape it, numb it, or transcend it. When you're willing to ask, what is this pain trying to teach me? The ancient alchemists believed they could turn lead into gold. They couldn't, of course, but they were onto something true, not about metal, but about the human spirit. We have the capacity to transform pain into purpose, wounds into wisdom, breakage into beauty. This is the alchemy of suffering. It doesn't happen magically. It requires intention, effort, courage, and time. You have to actively engage in the transformation. You have to take your pain and ask, what can I make from this? Maybe you make art from it, a book, a song, a painting that captures what you felt. Maybe you make service from it, helping others who are going through what you went through. Maybe you make wisdom from it, insights that deepen your understanding of life and humanity. Maybe you make connection from it, vulnerability that allows others to connect with the real you, not just the curated version. The specific form doesn't matter as much as the transformation itself. What matters is that you refuse to let your pain be wasted. You refuse to let it be merely destructive. You claim your agency by choosing to make something meaningful from it. So what are the gifts hidden in pain? Let me be clear, these are gifts you didn't want and wouldn't have chosen. They came at too high a cost. Given the choice, you'd return the gifts to get back what you lost. I understand that. But since you can't return them, you might as well unwrap them. Gift 1, authentic strength. Not the performative kind that comes from never being tested, but the real kind that comes from being broken and choosing to rebuild. You now know what you're capable of withstanding. That knowledge can never be taken from you. Gift 2, deep compassion. You can now recognize pain in others, even when they hide it well, because you know all the hiding places. You can offer presence without platitudes, comfort without clichés, support without simplistic solutions. Your pain has made you capable of extraordinary kindness. Gift 3, clarity of values. Crisis clarifies. When everything feels like it's falling apart, you discover what actually matters. You learn to distinguish between what's essential and what's merely preference. Your priorities reorganize themselves around what's truly important. Gift 4, humility and humanity. Pain strips away pretense. It reminds you that you're human, fragile, mortal, limited. And paradoxically, this humility makes you more, not less. It connects you to the human family. It makes you real in a world full of performances. Gift 5, presence. When you've been through darkness, you learn to appreciate light. Small moments become sacred, a good cup of coffee, a genuine conversation, a sunset, a kind word. You're no longer sleepwalking through life waiting for the big moments. You're awake to the miracle of ordinary existence. Your pain has given you a story. Not a story you'd choose to tell at parties, but a story that matters. A story that, when shared honestly, gives others permission to share theirs. A story that breaks the isolation of suffering. Think about the stories that have most impacted your life. Were they stories of people who never struggled, of lives that unfolded perfectly, or were they stories of people who went through hell and came out the other side? Stories of resilience, of recovery, of redemption. Your story is one of those stories now. You are proof that survival is possible. You are evidence that pain doesn't have to be the end. You are a testimony to the human capacity for healing, for growth, for transformation. This doesn't mean you have to share your story publicly or become some kind of inspirational speaker. Sometimes the most powerful stories are shared quietly, one person to one person, in moments when someone desperately needs to know they're not alone. But I want you to understand the value of what you carry. Your pain is not just personal, it's also universal. Your specific details are unique, but the emotional core is something every human understands. And when you share it, you remind others of their own strength, their own capacity, their own possibility for healing. Here's a truth that might surprise you. You don't have to fully get over your pain for it to transform you. You don't have to reach some mythical place where you're completely healed and the pain no longer affects you. In fact, that place doesn't exist. What exists is something more nuanced, more real, the ability to hold both pain and joy simultaneously, to carry grief and still experience moments of genuine happiness, to remember loss and still feel grateful for what remains, to bear scars and still be beautiful. This is the both and truth that replaces the either or thinking of our culture. You can be wounded and wonderful, broken and blessed, hurt and hopeful, grieving and growing. The coexistence of these seemingly contradictory states is not a failure of healing, it's the mark of mature wisdom. You learn to make space for all of it. The days when the pain overwhelms you and the days when you feel genuinely okay. The moments when grief ambushes you and the moments when joy surprises you. The memories that still sting and the present moments that soothe. This is what integration looks like. Not the erasure of pain, but the expansion of your capacity to hold pain alongside everything else that's true about your life. Carl Jung wrote about the archetype of the wounded healer, the person whose own suffering becomes the source of their ability to heal others, not despite their wounds, but because of them. The most effective therapists often have their own history of struggle. The most compassionate doctors have often been patients. The most impactful teachers have often been confused students. Your wound can become your work, not in the sense that you have to build your career around it, though some people do, but in the sense that you can operate from a place of wounded wisdom in whatever you do. If you've survived abuse, you carry knowledge about safety that can help you create it for others. If you've battled addiction, you understand the mechanisms of change that can guide others toward recovery. If you've navigated loss, you can sit with grieving people in a way that those who haven't experienced loss cannot. This is purpose forged from pain. This is meaning extracted from suffering. This is the transformation of your worst experience into your greatest contribution. Not because the experience was good, but because you refused to let it be only destructive. Living from your wound, transforming pain into gift isn't a one-time event, it's a practice. Some days you'll do it well, some days you'll forget everything you learned and fall back into old patterns of despair or denial. That's okay. That's human. The practice looks different for everyone, but it usually includes some consistent elements. Acknowledgement. Starting your day by honestly recognizing where you are emotionally. Not judging it, not trying to change it immediately, just acknowledging it. I'm feeling raw today. I'm carrying extra grief this morning. I'm tired from the emotional work. Connection. Reaching out to someone even briefly. A text to a friend. A call to a support person. A meeting with others who understand. Remembering you're not alone on this path. Meaning making. Doing something that connects your pain to purpose. Maybe it's journaling, maybe it's creating art, maybe it's helping someone else. Maybe it's simply reflecting on what you're learning about yourself and life. Gentleness. Treating yourself with the compassion you offer someone you love who's going through what you're going through. Being patient with your healing process. Recognizing that some days successful just means you made it through. Let's be honest about something. You will have setbacks. There will be days, sometimes weeks, when you feel like you've made no progress at all. When the pain is just as fresh as it was in the beginning. When you wonder if you'll ever really heal. Anniversaries will hit hard. Triggers you didn't know existed will ambush you. You'll see someone who reminds you of your loss, hear a song that carries you back to the pain, encounter a situation that reopens the wound. This doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. This doesn't mean your transformation wasn't real. This is just how healing works. It's not linear. It's more like a spiral. You circle back to the same feelings, but you're not in the same place. You're one level up on the spiral, meeting the pain again, but with more resources, more wisdom, more capacity. The gift of pain isn't that the pain disappears. It's that you develop the capacity to carry it without being crushed by it, to feel it without being consumed by it, to remember without being destroyed by the remembering. Here's a gift you might not have considered. By being honest about your pain, by not pretending you're fine when you're not, by showing up as your authentic, struggling self, you give others permission to do the same. We live in a culture of curation where everyone presents their highlight reel and hides their bloopers, where admission of struggle feels like failure, where vulnerability is confused with weakness, where we're all pretending to have it together while secretly falling apart. You can break this cycle, not by oversharing or making your pain everyone else's problem, but by being real. By saying, I'm having a hard time when someone asks how you are, by sharing honestly when it's appropriate, by letting people see that you're human, complex, still healing, and that's okay. This permission is revolutionary. It creates space for authentic connection. It breaks the isolation that makes pain so much worse. It reminds everyone that we're all in this together, all struggling in different ways, all doing our best to figure out how to be human. You don't know who's watching. You don't know who needs your story. You don't know whose life might change because you chose to transform your pain rather than be destroyed by it. Maybe it's your child who learns from you that struggle doesn't define you. Maybe it's a coworker who's suffering silently until you share honestly. Maybe it's a stranger online who reads your words at exactly the moment they need them. Maybe it's someone decades in the future who you'll never meet, but who will benefit from the emotional honesty you normalized. This is the ripple effect of transformed pain. It spreads beyond you in ways you can't track or measure. Every time you choose meaning over despair, every time you help someone else because you've been helped, every time you create something beautiful from something broken, you send ripples through the water of human experience. And somewhere, someone's life changes. Someone finds hope. Someone decides to keep going. Someone realizes they're not alone. Someone discovers they're stronger than they knew. And they might never know it was your ripple that reached them, but that doesn't make it any less real. Here's the strangest thing about transforming pain. Eventually, you might feel a form of gratitude for it. Not gratitude that it happened, you'd still choose differently if you could. But gratitude for who you became because of it. Gratitude for what you learned. Gratitude for the depth it added to your life. Gratitude for the superficial things it burned away. This is the gratitude paradox. You can wish something never happened while simultaneously valuing what came from it. You can grieve the cost while appreciating the growth. You can hate the process while respecting the product. This isn't about being thankful for trauma or calling pain a blessing. It's about acknowledging the full truth. That pain was terrible and something good came from it. That you paid a price you didn't want to pay and you gained something valuable. That the loss was real and the growth was real. Both things are true. Both truths deserve to be honored. You don't have to choose between them. So where are you right now? Are you in the fresh shock of breaking, in the valley of darkness, in the early stages of transformation, somewhere on the path toward integration? Wherever you are, it's okay. There's no should be, there's no schedule for healing. There's no test you have to pass or milestone you need to reach. You're exactly where you are, and that's your starting point. Maybe you're hurting so much that everything I've said feels impossible or even insulting. That's okay. You don't have to believe me yet. You don't have to see the gift yet. You just have to keep breathing. That's enough for today. Or maybe you're starting to glimpse possibility, starting to wonder if transformation might be real, starting to feel tiny sparks of curiosity about what you might make from this pain. If so, that's beautiful. Follow those sparks. They'll light your way. Or maybe you're further along, already doing the work of alchemy, already turning your pain into something meaningful. If so, keep going. The world needs what you're creating from your breaking. But wherever you are, you have a choice. Not a choice about whether you hurt, that's already decided, but a choice about what you'll do with the hurt. You can let it make you bitter or let it make you better. You can let it close your heart or crack it open. You can let it isolate you or connect you. You can let it define you or refine you. You can let it be a life sentence or a life lesson. I won't tell you which choice is easy. Sometimes bitterness feels like protection. Sometimes closing off feels like safety. Sometimes isolation feels like peace. These defensive choices make sense, and I don't judge them. But I will tell you which choice leads to freedom, to growth, to the possibility of joy again. And that's the choice to engage with your pain as raw material for transformation, to ask what gifts might be hidden in it, to believe that meaning can be made even from meaninglessness. Remember the Japanese art of kintsugi, repairing broken pottery with gold. The cracks aren't hidden. They're highlighted, celebrated, transformed into the most beautiful part of the object. The bowl isn't valuable despite being broken. It's valuable because of how it was broken and repaired. You are that bowl, your cracks are visible, your breaking was real, your scars tell a story. And here's the truth, you're not less because of them. You're more, you're deeper, richer, more complex, more beautiful. Your breaking opened you to dimensions of existence you couldn't access when you were intact and comfortable. This doesn't mean the breaking was good. It means you've done the sacred work of making something good from it. You filled your cracks with gold. You've transformed your pain into gift. You become art. And now when light hits you, it doesn't just reflect off your smooth surfaces. It catches in your cracks, in those golden seams where you've been broken and repaired. And that light, that's what the world needs. That's your contribution, that's your gift, not despite your pain, because of what you made from it. Your pain mattered, your breaking was real, your struggle deserves recognition. And what you're making from it, whether it's wisdom, compassion, art, service, or simply the courage to keep living honestly, that matters too. You're not finished. You're still becoming, still healing, still transforming, still discovering what gifts your pain has hidden within it. And that's not a failure, that's being human. So keep going, keep breathing, keep choosing transformation over resignation, keep looking for the gold that can fill your cracks, keep believing that meaning can be made even from the most meaningless suffering. The gift hidden in your pain is you, the wiser, deeper, more compassionate version of you that could only emerge through breaking and choosing to rebuild. That person is magnificent. That person is needed. That person is worth every difficult step of this journey. Welcome to your transformation.